All right, it's from the New York Post. Former President Barack Obama wrote of his own androgynous mind and making love to men daily, but in the imagination, according to the redacted portion of a now notorious 1982 letter obtained by the Post. So we talked last week about this letter where Obama mentioned his homosexual fantasies, but at that point, that part of the letter had been redacted, so we didn't know what it actually said, and now we know what's in the actual letter. The more than 40-year-old letter to an ex-girlfriend recently resurfaced after Obama biographer David Garrow gave a long and winding interview on the one-time commander-in-chief. In regard to homosexuality, quote, this is a quote now, in regard to homosexuality, I must say that I believe this is an attempt to remove oneself from the present, a refusal perhaps to perpetuate the endless farce of earthly life. You see, I make love to men daily, but in the imagination. This is what Obama wrote to Alex McNear in November of 1982. My mind is androgynous to a great extent, and I hope to make it more so until I can think in terms of people, not women, as opposed to men. But in returning to the body, I see that I have been made a man, and physically in life, I choose to accept that contingency. McNear, who dated Obama during his years at Occidental College in Los Angeles, later redacted these salacious paragraphs, which the Pulitzer Prize-winning historian Garrow hunted down and included in his book Rising Star. The letter is currently owned by Emory University, which doesn't permit it to be photographed or removed. Instead, Garrow's friend Harvey Clare transcribed the paragraphs by hand and sent them to the author. Okay, so I think there are maybe two takeaways here. There are no surprises. Nothing is surprising about this at all. But there are two takeaways. And the first, before we get to the homosexuality stuff, the first is that Obama has been a pompous tool his entire life. Again, not a surprise, but that's a takeaway. My mind is androgynous, for I yearn to be released from the confines of this binary serfdom of constructed realities. Like, this is Amanda Gorman tier faux profundity is what it is. Like, this dude actually wrote the phrase, unironically, quote, perpetuate the endless farce of earthly life. He actually wrote that phrase. And ironically, in a certain way, this is a certain way the straightest thing he's ever done also, because it's like a desperate attempt to impress this girl. This is how desperate he is that he's writing stuff like this. This will impress her. Now she really think I'm smart. But the straightest thing is also extremely gay, because we also know that he confessed to his gay fantasies. I just hope that the girl wrote him back and was like, "Dear Barry, you are at least 70 IQ points dumber than you think you are." But I think nobody ever told him that in his entire life, which explains everything that happened after. If you want some positive news in the culture war, well, since Roe v. Wade was overturned, the left has lost their mind, making abortion their official sacrament. The pro-life efforts, which are more important now than ever, are booming. You heard that right. Despite the narrative, pro-lifers didn't go away. They increased in number. As one of the largest pro-life organizations in the world, no one's in a better position than 40 Days for Life to end abortion in each state in a post-Roe America. 40 Days for Life is changing hearts and minds in the most blue pro-abortion states. They've had a record number of locations since Roe was overturned, and they grew in both volunteers and locations. With about 1 million volunteers in 1,500 cities, they hold peaceful vigils outside abortion facilities. You can help them fight the ongoing legal battles by protecting free speech for their volunteers by giving a tax-deductible gift of any amount at 40daysforlife.com. That's 40daysforlife.com. But then again, we get to the second big takeaway, which is the gay fantasy. And this is, now it's confirmed. It's confirmed at the very least that this guy was having homosexual fantasies in his early 20s. If you want to theorize that, it doesn't mean that he ever acted on them or that he ever was an active homosexual. That's one theory. I don't find it terribly plausible. But this is another one of those things that, for years and years, you had many people on the right talking about this, let's say predicting this about Obama. And we were told it's just rumors, it's nothing, it's ridiculous, conspiracy theory, conspiracy mongering. And even though it's not a conspiracy at all, well, in a certain way it is. So like there's actual conspiracy here to cover up this. This was written, this is documented, as homosexual fantasies were documented, and then they were redacted by this university. So there is an actual conspiracy of cover-up here. And for so long, it was dismissed as nothing more than conspiracy theory. So really, we have to chalk this up as yet another quote-unquote conspiracy theory that has been confirmed, as they almost always are. And this is another one. Hey, YouTube, thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like access to my full show with no ads, you should go to dailywire.com and use promo code Walsh to get 2 months free on all annual plans. See you there.